Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Gratitude Shift Wednesday. We are already on Wednesday. It's Gratitude Shift Wednesday. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here. We're talking about comparison today. Comparison. I think that this is going to be a phenomenal conversation. So I have two questions for you this morning. Two questions. Listen, question number one is, let me find a question. So what if question number one, let me find it. So, what's one area of your life where comparison has been holding you back? Right? Listen, what is one area in your life where comparison has been holding you back? And then the second question is, what would you shift? Right? What would you shift if you stop measuring your growth against your against your timeline? All right. Listen, comparison is the reason why many people quit before their confidence can take root, you guys. Remember, this week we're talking about confidence or strengthening our confidence through practice. All right. Strengthen our confidence through practice. Listen, again, comparison is the reason why many people quit before their confidence can root. And here's why: because confidence requires practice. But comparison, guess what? It in a sense subtly demands perfection. All right. Confidence grows quickly, but comparison shouts, it really shouts the loudest out online. I have a lot of clients who who are unhappy with their life, not because of their life, but because of what they see other people's lives, or what they see demonstrated through other people's lives on social media. All right, listen, confidence says, let's try again. Comparison says, you should be further by now. All right. All right. So here's the thing. So today's lesson is really to talk about confidence, to let you know that confidence is cultivated through your rhythm, not through their results. Okay. Confidence is really built through your rhythm and not through their results. Remember, this whole week we're talking about confidence, right? And confidence is not something that is inherited, right? It is something that is cultivated. All right. And so we're talking about confidence or strengthening our confidence, because a lot of us, we say we lack confidence. That's why we're not moving forward. That's not why we're doing a thing. And to be able to really elevate your mindset, right, it is important to have this thing of confidence that really shows up, because confidence, but I want you to know that confidence grows through consistency, right? Through compassion, right? And through choosing alignment over fear, you know, and that happens one moment at a time, you guys, one moment at a time. Okay. On Monday, all right, on Monday, I talked about the stories, and that was about confidence, the confidence muscle, right? Confidence is a muscle and not really a trait. All right. And the lesson really focused on rewriting your inner narrative, right? Or the inner narrative that confidence is something that you were born with, and it's not, right? And so we talked about that on Monday, and we really reframed that confidence is built through showing up, right? Consistently. It can be showing up, I'm gonna say this, showing up imperfectly but consistently, right? Because you're training your mind for something different, right? This was the foundation, right? I really helped you to really redefine confidence as something that you can practice, right? And not something that we really wish or pray for. Okay. So that lesson was really about exploring the origin stories or the beginning stories, or where did your stories come from, right? That story that I feel like I feel like um I feel like I'm not enough. I feel ready before I have to be ready before I act, right? All of these really non-truths, right? That's really stopping us from activating. All right. And I challenged that on Tuesday. Yesterday, we talked about triggers, right? Self-sabotage as a signal, not a setback. If you want that replay, go to the Elevating Life um group, right? And watch that, right? This one was all about understanding sabotage as a protective response, right? Not as a personal flaw. Because again, if we can build a different relationship with the sabotager, which isn't energy. I was thinking about this after I had this conversation about the sabotager yesterday. So there was this whole write-up about the four energies that we display, and one of them is the sabotager, right? The sabotager energy. So if we can start really looking at this sabotager as a protective response, I think that we can be triggered differently, right? Versus a personal flaw. All right. So the reframe for yesterday was really, where you pull back isn't where you're failing, right? It's where you need more safety and support. So when you start to feel yourself sabotaging, or you start questioning yourself, that is your mind saying, hey, we need more information, we need new language, we need more safety, we need more support before I can move forward, right? And feel safe in moving forward, whatever this change is. All right. The tie into that, to this theme, was that we really we took the next step into digging into why, right? Why you don't show up consistently, right? Why are you not showing up consistently? And it's because of this emotional trigger, right? Like the fear of failure, being too much, or not being enough. And this really helped you. My goal was to help you to stop retreating, right? To stop retreating. But today is the listen, Gratitude Shift Wednesday, talking about the obstacles and the opportunity cost, right? So comparison, criticism, and the confidence drain, right? This thing of criticism, you guys, this thing of comparison is creating this lens where we are so critical of ourselves. And guess what that's doing? That is draining our confidence. All right. So today we're going to zoom in and look at these internal distractions that really reinforce our internal doubt. Okay. All right. So again, day one, you don't have to wait for confidence. You build it. Day two, you don't punish the sabotager. You start to decode it. And today, you don't have to chase the timeline, right? You can own your own pace. Or like my good friend Dre says, you can live at your own pace. I should have tagged him in this one, right? You can live in your own pace. Why am I doing this session, right? Why am I? Okay. Like my friend Dre says, you can lay out, right? That is his design, layout, which means you can live at your own pace. All right. All right. Why am I doing this session? To really help you recognize comparison not as a motivator, but as a subtle emotional drain that blocks, right? That blocks what? Your confidence. All right. This lesson is really about shifting from self-judgment, right, to self-celebration by honoring our own timeline, okay, and reclaiming our energy from these outside distractions. All right. Yeah. So, and it's really about owning our own timelines, you guys. Again, I probably should have tagged Dre, because it really is about learning how to live at your own pace, honey. Live at your own pace. I should have put on one of my layout shirts today. Got a closet full of them, right? It's really about living at your own place. Here's our disclaimer for this morning. This session is designed to really help you identify how comparison shows up and really steals your confidence. But transformation only happens when you begin honoring your unique rhythm, right? And we all have a new unique rhythm. Let me finish this statement. If you're serious about becoming more confident, right, be willing to release the need to measure your journey against someone else's and anchor your own divine place. All right. Again, we all have a unique rhythm. If you've ever been in a choir, and this is just a very simple yet powerful illustration. If you've been in a choir, you know that there are what? Sopranos, right? You know that there are altos, you know that there are tenors, right? And you understand that these different voices or tones, right, they come together, right, and they build harmony. And if we are not in our own rhythm, right, and you can hear sometimes when you are, in a choir, you can hear the alto trying to be the soprano, or off key, right, or the soprano trying to be the alto, and it's like, no, you're a soprano, come down. And even when that happens, when an alto is trying to be a soprano, it's not sustainable. When a soprano is trying to be alto, it's not. And it's a rare that you can get an individual who can go, their voice can go from like this tenor all the way to a falsetto of a soprano, okay? Right? But the point that I'm trying to make is that we need to honor our unique rhythm, our unique beat, our unique voice. And a lot of times we're not honoring. Why? Because we're comparing ourselves, right? We're comparing ourselves to other people. So good morning. Good morning on today. It is Gratitude Shift Wednesday. It is Gratitude Shift Wednesday. And I want to welcome you back to Life Lessons. I think it's going to be I know that this is going to be a great conversation. Hopefully it's going to be very revealing to you, and hopefully introduce some compassion, right, in some areas that you may have judged. Again, this is Project Life, this is Life Lessons, a part of Project Life. Project Life is where we turn theory into practice. All right. And so there's a huge movement where the life lessons are every day. We do the coaching labs, you get the emotional intelligence training and all of those things. And if you want more information about Project Life, put life in the comments. Okay. Let's get present in our body. Okay. Let's get present in our body this morning. Feeling our feet on the floor, right? Just bringing some compassion to this 750 trillion cells on this morning. All right. Bringing some compassion, right? As we breathe in, breathing in our own pace, just our presence, just this kind of alignment, right? And then just breathing out misalignment on this morning. All right. All right. Just getting back in our own lane. Okay. So breathing in alignment and presence for who we are today, and then breathing out any misalignment or comparison. All right. So we feeling our feet on the floor, our legs, all right, our butts in the seat, just bringing some compassion and love to our bodies, up our spine, right? All of the energy fields that's aligned with our spine, right? Our shoulders, right, coming around to our rib cage, and really just thanking that protection, right? That's protecting our organs, our lungs, our intestines, small intestines, stomach, all of those things, bringing some love and compassion into that. Our heart space, filling our hearts on this morning. All right, just filling with love and gratitude, right, for the things that we desire, and then also hope for those things that we know it's there, but we still are waiting and being hopeful that those things are coming to us, right? So just filling our heart with gratitude on this morning, up our throats, just kind of feeling our throat chakra kind of balance, right? A lot of us are not speaking our truth. And so we want to bring some balance into that. Our shoulders, just again, the weight of our shoulders is feeling that kind of lift, right? Kind of lift off of us, down our arms, our elbows, our forearms, activating our hands on this morning. All right. Up our chin, right? A jawbone, making sure that it's not tight. All right. Our tongue, teeth, nose, okay, eyes. All right. Kind of getting centered in the back of our eyes. All right. Foreheads, right? Feeling just our face relax on this morning, activating our brain this morning. Okay. Activating our brain. And then our crown chakra, just kind of seeing that crown chakra just kind of rain down over us, right? Just kind of rain down over us. And then the space around us, our biggest organ, our skin. All right. And again, if we're feeling a little tight, right? Meaning our aura or the energy field around us kind of feeling a little tight, let's kind of push that out, right? Like an arm's length away. So we're pushing it out. Okay. Arm's length away. Okay, and if it's feeling too big, let's pull it in. Let's put it in. So it's just like an arm's length away around all of us. Good morning. Good morning. Drop a word in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling this morning. We're at 13 minutes, right? And I'm just now saying, drop a word in the chat. Drop a word in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling this morning. I'm feeling inspired. Okay, I'm feeling inspired. A lot of things are shifting. Yeah, I'm hiring, right? I'm hiring right now. I'm hiring a marketer, or like a kind of it's a dual role. So it's two, need an editor and a marketer, and then kind of like a more chief administrator. So if you know anybody that's interested in working or interested in the vision, right, in the vision that's Shaping Solutions, of Shaping Solutions, where we help align, advance, and accelerate people in their personal, professional, and business life. Right. If you know anybody, if you yourself align with that vision, or you know somebody that does, and somebody who's into marketing, and that's more than just marketing, graphic designs and all of that. Have them DM me, and then on the backside, just supporting me as a CEO in this chief administrative position. So I'm hiring for those two positions. So I'm excited about this expansion. All right, listen, who is this session for? So I'm feeling, I'm feeling inspired this morning. How are you feeling? Drop a word in the chat. And you already know, if you need my support, if you need the community support, drop it in the comments, you guys. Like, hey, I need some prayers. Something is going on. Let's kind of get the support and hold a space for one another, in this time, in this season. Okay. So who is today's session is for? Today's session is for you. Okay. This is for you. If you've ever looked at someone else's timeline and silently wondered, why not me? Okay. This is for you. This is for you, or women or male who are tired of strolling and second guessing your progress. All right. And you're ready to shift into confidence, clarity, and really celebrate your own journey. All right. So those are the two things it's for. Listen, so if you're wondering why not me, why hasn't it happened to me yet, right? And you're ready to celebrate your own journey, and you find yourself second guessing your own pace or your own lane because you're strolling, right? And you're listening to other people. Listen, when you measure yourself against someone else's journey, you actually diminish the value of your own process. All right. You don't build confidence by matching someone else's timeline, you guys. You build it by really meeting yourself where you are today. All right. Listen, the biggest obstacle that we're facing right now is feeling behind because your progress looks, because somebody else's progress looks a little bit more polished than yours. All right. And what that creates is a pattern that we're going to discuss tomorrow. But this pattern of really overcompensating, over comparison, and underconfidence, you guys, and sometimes overconfidence. Because I talked about overconfidence in my dissertation, right? Sometimes this overconfidence where I have it all together is kind of more of a facade, right? All right. And that in itself will joggle our it factor, right? And I want you to know that confidence built from an inner confidence is built from this inner authority, right? Not these social applause. All right. All right. So we have to then introduce some non-negotiables. Okay. I am allowed to grow slowly. I don't owe anyone else a grow up, okay? A glow up. I don't owe that to anybody. I am allowed to grow slowly. I'm allowed to lay out, to really live at my own pace. All right? I don't have to compare myself or my journey to anyone else's. Right? Because that's what makes us all unique. Our iris, our thumbprint, our DNA, right? Like all of these things make us unique. And so because we have that God-given gift, then we have the ability to live at our own pace. All right, to live at our own pace. So our guiding thought on this morning is your confidence is buried under the weight of who you think you were supposed to be by now. All right. I want you to think about that. What if your confidence was really buried under the weight of what you think what you think you're supposed to be right now? All right. All right. Listen, I think that was one is a powerful quote. And I often think about my own life, right? I'm a doctor. I'm highly intelligent. I live in this town called Saginaw, Michigan, right? And I'm constantly being told, like, what I should be or where I should be by now or what should be happening or where I should go move and I just have to tell people, listen, everywhere I go, there I am. You know what I mean? And I can accelerate on the outside, right? So I could move and accelerate my income on the outside. But this is a healing journey too, right? So it's not just about me going to New York or Atlanta or Texas or anywhere and to glow up, right? To in a sense expand my horizons if I haven't healed my core, right? If I haven't healed on the inside. And so I feel like I'm right where I need to be, right? So at this point in my life, I feel like I can move anywhere, right? Because I've healed a lot of those wounds and I'm not running from Saginaw. I'm actually more in the expansive stage. All right. So here's a real example. I had a client that said, I had a client who was going to launch one thing, you know. She said she was going to launch one thing. She said she was going to post it and then have a conversation. But instead, guess what? She opened Instagram, right? She opened Instagram and suddenly it felt like everyone else was ahead of her. And when I talk back to her, right? Now, this is a client who has definitely, I want to say like 50,000 followers. If she has like a lot of followers, but a lot of her people have a lot of followers. Okay. A lot of followers and are growing. All right. So she said she was going to launch this thing. She was going to post about it. She was going to have a conversation. But as soon as she opened her Instagram, right, she kind of started to spiral, right? Because it felt like all of the people who she was following was ahead of her, right? Then she became unmotivated, right? And then she got stuck. All right, listen, comparison doesn't spark, listen, momentum, you guys. It actually drains you. It actually drains you. You're not behind. I want you to know you're not behind. You're not distracted. You're 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 being you're bringing energy, right? You're bringing yourself down with this comparison energy. Listen, comparison doesn't just steal your joy, it steals your confidence, your momentum, and your self-trust. All right. So today, we're going to talk about how constant comparison really creates inner criticism, how inner criticism becomes hesitation, and how hesitation delays action. And the cost of that is your confidence. All right. If that makes sense, put a 1 in the chat. If you see me sometimes pause, I'm thinking of a way that I can connect what I'm saying to you in a way that I feel like is edible for you, right? I do realize that there's a part of all of the lessons that are very heavier in language, and I'm trying to think of how can I say this in a way that's edible, right? Where you can get it just like that, right? And so as I'm going through it, I'm listening to myself say, okay, how can I reword that? All right. A big part of this comparison loop is really costing us our confidence. And I really don't think that we realize how much we are not showing up in our own lives because of what we see other people doing, or how much this comparison loop is stopping us from activating because maybe the person that I graduated with, or maybe the person that's the same age as me, or maybe the person we started off the race together and I feel like they're so far ahead of me, so I'm not going to start. And it's just like, maybe that's their race, and maybe you needed to collect some things. Maybe your growth process is different. Maybe what you needed was different. And I always say that a lot of us have to put ourselves in slingshot positions. And to me, a slingshot position, you kind of back up, right? So I need to heal. I need to understand. I need to do this. So I am in this slingshot. But once I launch, or once I do the thing, actually that in itself, just being in this kind of slingshot position, is going to shoot me right either at where I should be if I feel like I'm behind, or even further. All right, listen, the confidence loops, especially those the comparison loops, especially those in social media or in our family dynamics, it really keeps the attention outside of yourself. All right, it really keeps your attention outside of yourself. All right. And this attention really reinforces the lie that success has a deadline, and that your worth is not tied, and that your worth is truly tied to performance. All right. But here's the truth. You're not behind. You're not behind. You're just living your version. You're just living your version of becoming. All right. I think that's powerful because, I know that's powerful because each one of our becomings is different, right? And each one of our becomings look different, right? And it doesn't need to look like anyone else's, all right? Our becoming doesn't need to look like anyone else's. So here's our heart check-in for this morning. All right, I want you to pause and I want you to think, where have you been grading your growth by using somebody else's rubric, right? Where have you been grading yourself off of somebody else's pace? You're looking at your friend, you're looking at social media, you're looking at your classmate, and you're saying, they're so much further than me. You're using their metrics of success, and you're basically saying I'm not successful because I don't have what they have. All right. And I want you to think about that. Now I want you to ask, like, what one area have you delayed? Not because you wasn't ready, but because you were too busy watching someone else rise in their life. This whole month we're talking about rising. And so many of us are watching other people rise in their life, building resentment in ourselves, judging ourselves, being very critical of ourselves, which is stopping us from what? From rising ourselves. All right. All right. So here's some truths. Comparison is often, guess what? A form of grief. All right. This is a hard check in. I want you to think about this. When you are comparing yourself, sometimes this is a form of grief. All right. I don't think we talk about this enough. We don't talk enough about how comparison can be a mask for grieving a life that we thought we'd have by now. Okay. This is grief. This is grief. When you're comparing yourself to someone else, or you're saying what I should have had, or I should be further, listen, that's not you just doubting yourself. That's you mourning. You're mourning a version of your life that didn't unfold the way you planned. All right. And so why this matters is because when you treat comparison with some compassion instead of some judgment, it really opens up the door for you to heal that. All right. For you to heal that. You're not just battling the ego in this point. You're honoring this unprocessed grief. So many of us are mourning a version of our life that that hasn't unfolded, that we felt like, we should be, or we could have been there, and we're stuck there, which is making us compare ourselves to this other life. So sometimes, and often, more than likely, this comparison is a form of grief. All right. All right. If that makes sense, put a 1 in the chat. All right, listen, chronic comparison. Another thing is chronic comparison is a nervous system response. Listen, consistently comparing yourself to others isn't just a mindset issue. It's a dysregulated nervous system trying to access safety through external validation. So comparison is your survival brain saying, "Am I safe? Am I accepted? Or am I able to keep up?" All right. Here's why this matters, because you can't think your way out of this. All right. You have to co-regulate through self-soothing practices, through some kind of divine groundedness, right? And embodying tools to really make your life feel safe enough for what? For you to trust it, for you to trust where you're at. All right. Let me say this different. Comparison is a nervous system response. All right. So when you find yourself going to that certain person's page and looking at their relationship, and you're looking at how their business is growing, and you're looking at how their family is expanding, right? This is not a mindset issue. This is your nervous system trying to assess safety through what? External validation. And what is that validation? Am I safe? Am I still acceptable? And am I keeping up? All right. So that if you're seeking that, right, then your nervous system will never feel safe, right? Because you're looking at somebody else's life and you're comparing it to yours, was making you spiral. So to heal that, there needs to be some co-regulation, right? So you need to do some self-soothing practices, some breathing, some allowing, some divine intervention, right? And some using tools to really make you feel safe enough to really trust your own life. Okay. Another thing, comparison is often a preemptive defense mechanism. All right. Listen, when someone criticizes themselves first, it's usually so that no one else can beat them to the punch. All right. So when you hear people criticize themselves first, it's usually because they don't want anyone else to beat them to the punch. All right. it's about control. It's really them using their emotions or this this um this comment as armor, right, to protect themselves. All right. And it shows up because they're downplaying their gifts, their voice, or their success before someone else can call it not enough. Listen, criticism is not just a habit, you guys. It's a protective identity. All right. Helping you helping you to really feel emotionally safe. All right, feel emotionally safe. So when you start to criticize yourself because you've compared yourself, it's your way of defending or protecting your identity before somebody else can call you out. All right, and we need to heal that. All right, we need to heal that. All right. Another thing is we rarely compare ourselves from our present self. All right. We rarely take into account where we are right now. Okay. We almost always compare ourselves to our outdated part of us or to the wounded version of us. Listen, it's not your current self that feels behind. Not the 46-year-old you, not the 40-year-old you, not the 35-year-old you, not even the 60-year-old you. Okay, that's not the version of you that feels behind. It's the younger self that never felt chosen. It's your inner child. It's this inner critic that feels behind, right? So um, so it could be your inner critic or your overachiever who feels like you need to perform to have love and success. All right. All right. So this inner child that feels like it's not enough, or your overperforming or overfunctioning person that feels like you need to do more and perform to have more, right? But it's never this present you. And so many of us are not getting present enough to really say, I'm safe, I'm okay, things are working for my good in this moment. Okay. And if it's not, then I have the power in this moment to change, to shift, to adapt. Most of us are living in our past or in our future. All right. Listen, confidence doesn't just need repetition, you guys. It needs reconciliation. All right. All right. So you need to identify who um you need to identify yourself in this current moment and stop comparing even yourself to who you were at 20, or overworking or overcompensating because you're fearful of what you're going to be in this future place. All right, it's so important that we do that. Put a 3 in the chat if that makes sense. All right, the last thing I need you to know is that authentic confidence is quiet, it's rooted, and it's often unseen. So most people think confidence look bold, it has this high value, or it's all about being the most. But real rooted confidence really looks like saying no without explaining, really being visible without performing, and really resting without guilt, and showing up consistently even when no one is clapping. Okay, listen, you don't need you don't need to build confidence for the applause, you guys. You need to build it so you can feel more in alignment, because confidence, right, is something that we all need to have as we walk, really. Okay. All right. Listen, there is a false safety, the false safety of feeling familiar. All right. The false safety of the familiar struggle. Okay. Listen, some people aren't afraid of failure. Okay. They're afraid of who they'll have to become if they succeed. So confidence feels dangerous when you've spent years being known through your struggle. All right. So if I stop shrinking, who am I going to be? All right. And if I shine, will people still love me? So we self-sabotage often to protect this identity-based belonging. Listen, the obstacle isn't just belief, it's the fear of our emotional abandonment. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay. All right. So I want to go over these 5 things or 4 things. All right. Listen, the false safety of the familiar strategy. So again, some people um aren't afraid of failure, you guys. They're afraid of who they'll have to become if they succeed. All right. So confidence really feels dangerous when you've spent years being known through your struggle. All right. All right. Number 2, over identifying with humility can sometimes block your confidence. So many of my clients, especially women or, empaths or whatever, have been conditioned to believe that their confidence equals arrogance. So they unconsciously shrink or they downplay themselves because they were taught to really confuse visibility with vanity. And this is just not true. Okay. This is just not true. Listen, confidence and arrogance are 2 different energies. All right. They're 2 different energies. And confidence is a consequence of what? Of your expertise, of your competency. Right. And this is why we have to continue to do, or how we show up. The more we show up, the more we do it, the more confidence we feel. And we have to start to separate that from our wounded self that truly feels like visibility is vanity. All right. We have to start to break that and understand that no, I can speak about this, I can talk about this because I'm competent in this. All right. And the reason that visibility and that vanity is sometimes there is because when you were confident as a kid, or as a young adult, or in a relationship, or in a position, right? You could have gotten judged for that. And so the brain is truly trying to protect itself. All right. Listen, confidence grows through congruency, not control. So people often try to control their way into confidence, right? Like into like the perfect speech, or you know, some type of like how I'm gonna show up this scripted moment. But true confidence is about an inner congruency, you guys. It's about this alignment when what you say, what you feel, and what you believe all line up together. All right. And the more congruent we can become, or the more congruence that we have about who we are, our values, what I believe, what my values are, how I'm showing up in the world, then the more confident I'll feel about me. All right. So then I don't have to control every dynamic. I can give myself permission to make mistakes and kind of do those things because I have some congruency in me. Listen, confidence grows when the private self, when your private self really trusts the public self to really show up. All right. In integrity, to really show up in integrity. The last 2 things, comparison is often a distraction from accountability, you guys. Listen, sometimes we compare to avoid taking aligned action, you guys. It is so easy to scroll, to spiral, to critique, right? All of that is so easy. It's easier to scroll, to critique, and to spiral than it is to really get quiet, to get clear, and to do the work for yourself. All right. All right. Listen, why this matters, because we need to understand that a lot of our default mode, like the critique and the spiraling and the strolling, is only repeating the same patterns. All right. It's only repeating the same patterns. And if we really want to change our life, we have to get quiet, we have to get clear, and we have to do the work for ourselves, you guys. All right. Listen, the last thing, confidence really requires grieving. Confidence requires grieving the should be, right? The could have beens, right? All of that, all of those could have been, should have been, would have been, right? Right. Listen, many people carry shame about not being further in their life. Okay. But to move forward, you really need to grieve. Okay. Grieve this fantasy version of yourself that um that's predicated around who you should be by now. All right. This grieving, though, this grieving actually creates a space for radical acceptance, self-acceptance, and real growth. All right. You're not just building confidence, you're really laying to rest this outdated idea of who you had to be or who you could have been. Okay, listen, confidence is cultivated through your daily alignment, not through external approval. All right. But when you compare consistently, or when you consistently compare, guess what you're doing? Your confidence becomes dependent on the timeline that was never meant for you. So comparison doesn't just delay your progress, you guys, it delays your identity. So you have to stop trusting. You have to stop. Wait, I'm sorry. Comparison doesn't just delay your progress, it dissolves your identity. So you stop really trusting your own pace, and you stop celebrating your own wins, which in essence you stop moving. All right. Underneath comparison is often, again, this grief, or this grieving the version of who you the version of you who thought that you would be further by now. But this grief, it is valid. It's valid. And when we can honor it, I think we can grow. All right. When we can honor that I'm grieving that. Listen, I had one client say, I stopped comparing my timeline to others, and I finally launched, right, the business that I wanted. And I felt like I was coming home to myself by doing that. And this client is 55 years old. Listen, studies in behavioral psychology show that social comparison triggers feelings of inadequacy and emotional paralysis, you guys, especially among high achieving people exposed to co-rated success online, meaning that people can paint a picture online, right, that is very different than their real life. All right. All right. Listen, you don't need to match other people's timelines. You need to start really trusting your own. All right. And I know that's what you want. I know that's what you want. All right. So we know that, if that's what you want, put a 4 in the chat for me. All right, listen, we know that the O in stop it now is for obstacles or opportunity costs, right? So obstacles are the chronic comparisons that create daily doubt and disconnect, that creates delay, doubt, and disconnect. The opportunity cost of that is the cost of comparison is your creativity, is your confidence, and guess what? It is your clarity. All right. So here's some essential things I need you to know. All right, listen. Again, confidence is created, it's not inherited. Most people are waiting to feel ready before they act, but confidence is the result of showing up repeatedly. All right. Comparison, what? It kills confidence at the root. So measuring your progress by someone else's timeline will always leave you feeling behind. All right. It was going to always leave you feeling behind. Number 3, criticism brings internalized. Criticism becomes internalized when comparison goes unchecked. Listen, the more you compare, the more you criticize. First others, then yourself. All right. So it may start external. Listen, that inner critic is often just your comparison voice, or your comparison voice in disguise whispering, you should be better by now. And this sometimes can start with our judgment of other people. But if we really listen in, this inner critic is doing the same thing to us. Okay. Listen, another thing, gratitude is a confidence amplifier. You guys, this is why I have gratitude statements do gratitude statements all the time. And if you want some gratitude cards, you can go to my website, sheilalittle.com, and those cards are there. When you shift into gratitude for your own journey, guess what? You start seeing your progress as sacred, not shameful. You guys, listen, gratitude says, I may not be there yet, but I'm not where I was. And guess what? And that's all that matters. All right. Number 5, every time you compare, right, you pay in your confidence. Listen, the opportunity cost of comparison, right? That is the opportunity cost of comparison. Every time you compare, you're paying with your confidence, you guys. Every stroll, every side eye, every I should have been there, right? This robs you of self-trust and clarity. Listen, confidence thrives in authenticity, right? And it withers in comparison. All right. And 2 more, confidence is repetition in motion. All right. It's not found in big, bold moves, you guys. It's built in our daily routines, the gentle self-talk, okay, the consistent follow through. So even if it's shaky, even if it's small, guess what? It counts. Okay. Confidence is built is repetition in motion. It's the thing we doing all the time. All right. And then lastly, your pace is not your problem, it's your power. All right. Listen, the God in you, it doesn't rush. All right. It strengthens you, it upholds you, and it walks with you. All right. So trusting your timeline is the declaration, right? Is the declaration of your authority. All right. We really have to trust our own timeline. Research shows that most people don't find balance and certainty and confidence in their life till after 45. Till after 45. Listen, so if you read research, I know that we have people out here and we're seeing 20-year-olds that's millionaires. We're seeing 20-year-olds that's married and we've experienced that. And then we see 30-year-olds that's doing stuff, and we see 40 years of it, and it's making you feel behind. All right. When the truth is that one, sustainability, right? Whatever you get, you need to have the tools to sustain it. And a lot of us don't have the tools to sustain the success or the life that we even want. So that's the first thing you need to be doing. And a big part of sustainability is what? Health. It's being healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. All right. Those qualities will help you be able to sustain. Why? Because it's about how you filter life. It teaches you to become what? Um more responsive to life and not really reacting. All right, not really reacting. If that makes sense, put a heart in the chat for me. Okay. All right, so here's our biblical wisdom. We know that I'm testing doing the same verse, right, the whole week. So we know that this week our verse is Timothy 2, 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Listen, a sound mind doesn't spiral in comparison. Okay. A sound mind does not spiral in comparison. It anchors in clarity, you guys. Listen, when you're caught in comparison, fear runs the show, but it wears different clothes. Okay. It shows up. Good morning, Miss Jackie. It shows up like I'm behind, right? She's more successful than me, or he's more successful than me. Their relationship looks better than ours. I'll never catch up. Something is wrong with me. But listen, when you're operating from the spirit of God that dwells within you, guess what? You start to recognize that those thoughts don't originate with your truth, right? They're coming from a fractured story. All right. So this verse reminds you that God didn't put you here to keep second guessing your worth, right? You were not given a spirit that consistently measures itself. You were given a sound mind, which means clarity, calm, and self-truth. You were given power, which means your path matters, right? And you were given love, which means that you don't have to compete to be seen, right? So here's the practical part of this. When you notice yourself comparing, you can remind yourself that this is not my truth. Listen, I have a sound mind, right? I can come back to my lane, and it's safe there, right? And I'm safe with me, okay? And I'm safe with me, all right? That makes sense. Put a heart in the chat for me. Okay, our promise verse for this morning is Isaiah 41:10. And we know that it says, do not fear. I will strengthen you and help you. Okay. Even when you feel behind, okay, you're still supported because God's timeline includes your healing, not just your hustle. Listen, comparison often triggers dismay, the heavy, disappointed feeling that I'm not doing enough. But this verse is just a promise. Isn't just a promise for some, right? It's not a promise for some distant force in the sky or from some distant force in the sky, right? It's this inner dwelling, right? That's reassuring that even when your confidence feels shaky, I will strengthen you, all right? Even when you feel unworthy, I will uphold you, all right? Even when you feel like quitting, I will help you find your center again. Listen, this is God as the internal anchor. All right. The part of you that is study in its thoughts, that studies your thoughts when they're racing. All right. The part of you that whispers, you're still on time. All right. Listen, these verses um, they don't just belong on a mug on Pinterest or on an IG post, right? They belong in our nervous system. Okay, they need to be downloaded and really felt in our nervous system because they remind us that we don't need to perform for confidence or compete for love. All right, they affirm that what we are already resourced, we are already strengthened, and we are already upheld by the divine presence that lives within us. And so when we compare, I'm sorry. And so when comparison knocks, we don't fight it, you guys. We just realign. Okay. And how does that look? I don't have to compete to carry power. I don't have to hustle for love. I already have it, right? It was given to me. And I don't need to match their path because I have a sound mind that knows my own. Okay. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. How would you move if you truly believe your pace was divine and your confidence was secure? All right. And your confidence was secure. Okay. Let's put this into action on this morning. All right. Our action steps for today. I want you to name one area where comparison, I want you to name one area where comparison is slowing your momentum. Okay. Then I want you to mute or unfollow 3 accounts that stir up unnecessary pressure for you. And then I want you to speak life, okay? Speak life into your process. And how you going to do that? You're going to record a memo, right? You're going to record a memo, write a note, or affirm your next step, all right? So name one area where comparison is slowing you down. I want you to mute or unfollow 3 accounts that's stirring up unnecessary pressure for you internally. You know what those accounts are, all right? And then I want you to start speaking life into your progress. You can do that through a voice note, through writing. I'm sorry, I didn't put that up there. You can do that through a voice note, through a voice memo, writing a note, or affirming like a sticker on your mirror. All right. If you want a journal prompt for today, your journal prompt is what is comparison costing me? Okay, what is comparison costing me? And what would I reclaim if I trusted my own rhythm? All right. All right. And then our affirmation for today. Remember, affirmations, it's just extension of our language. Okay, that's our journal prompt. I'm sorry. What is comparison costing me and what would I reclaim if I trusted my own journey? And then our affirmation for today. Listen, I grow at my own speed. Okay, at my own healing. I grow at the speed of my own healing, right? I am not behind. I am becoming. All right. I am not behind. I am becoming. All right. And then our intention. Today, I anchor into my own pace and reclaim my confidence. I should have put like today. I'm going to put this on here. Today, I anchor. Today, I'm going to say I lay up. Okay. Today, I lay up and anchor into my own pace, right? I anchor and live in my own pace because that's what layup is, right? Live at my own pace. I'm sorry, I'm putting this on there. And reclaim my confidence. Look at that. Okay. So today I anchor. Today I lay up, right? And anchor and live at my own pace and reclaim my confidence. That is today's intention. And then our bonus, right? 20 for the next 24 hours. Okay. For the next 24 hours, do one thing, big or small, that's been delayed by comparison. Finish it, celebrate it. That's how you really build your momentum. Okay. So do one thing today. Okay. Big or small, that's been delayed by comparison. Finish it, celebrate it. That's how you build momentum. All right. And then we all know that I do that The call, the challenge, and the charge. The call, the challenge, and the charge. What does that look like on this morning? Listen, I want you to, the call is, what truth are you walking away with today? The challenge is, what's your next aligned action that only you can take? And then the charge, we already know, to go shape your life on your timeline, in your rhythm, and in your divine flow. Listen, if today's session resonated with you and you're walking away with insight, you ain't know what to do. Drop a fire in the chat and let's celebrate our growth together. You already know that you can join Project Life, where we turn theory into practice. We build emotional muscle and discipline, and we where we stop feeling stuck and start feeling supported. If you want information on that project, just drop life in the comments, you guys. Listen, I want you to remember that if you can shape it in your mind, you can have it in your life. Okay, you can have it in your life. I'll see you tomorrow as we discuss habits that reflect worthiness, right? Let's talk about the patterns that match your becoming, right? This whole week we're talking about how to strengthen our confidence, right? On Monday, it was more about building the confidence muscle. On Tuesday, we talked about the sabotager, right? And how to really start to build a different relationship with that sabotager. Today, we're talking about comparison, right? Sabotager really stops our confidence. Comparison stops our confidence. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about worthiness, okay? These patterns that really start how to build patterns that match our becoming. I want you to know I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow for that life lesson. Till later.